Sam Amick, USA Today NBA writer. He's going to Oklahoma City for Oklahoma City and the Clippers. Kind enough to join us en route to the airport. Surprise from round one was what, Sam?
Well, the disappointing surprise, Dan, as you know, the Donald Sterling saga and how it overshadowed everything is what jumps out at me. But in terms of the on-court stuff, I mean, I'll give it to the Brooklyn Nets. You know, Kevin Garnett said it best after the game last night, that if you looked at that team back in November and mid-December, I mean, they not only didn't look like a playoff team, they looked like a bottom five team in the league. So the fact that they're sitting here with a shot to take on the chance like they have right now is pretty shocking.
Better chance to go even further in the playoffs, the Pacers or Oklahoma City, since we were looking at these number one overall seeds and questioning whether their coaches would even be back next year.
Yeah, I think OKC by a long shot. The Pacers showed up in Game 7, and that's tremendous, and Roy Hibbert is alive again, and he had one game in that series. But they don't seem to have the belief they had before. I mean, Frank Vogel and his whole system is all about optimism and having this cohesion, and they don't seem to have it, even though they survived. So I think the Thunder, everybody forgets that Memphis Grizzlies team, the way they defend, the way they get in, they make you play their style of basketball. I think what we saw there is more of an aberration, and I wouldn't be shocked if OKC gets out of this round and keeps going.
The Warriors lose. Is Mark Jackson's job in jeopardy?
Yeah, big time. Absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's one of the most fascinating dynamics I've ever seen in my career when it comes to a coaching situation where you legitimately have a coach, and I've been around that team a lot, where he has the entire locker room. He has the players at his back, but there's this dynamic with ownership and management and a personality conflict and a style that I just don't think fits. It doesn't mean he's not going to come back, but they've got some discussions to have.
What were the discussions in the tunnel after Game 7 between the Warriors and Clippers? How heated did it get?
It was pretty bad. I mean, no punch was thrown. They did have to call the authorities. The Warriors, well, the backstory, Dan, is that the Clippers did not forget that after Game 1, when the Warriors pulled off the upset, they were celebrating pretty loudly in the hallway after the game, and the Clippers remembered that. So they did the same thing after Game 7, and then after that, the Warriors thought that somebody from the Clippers, they were basically chanting inside the Warriors locker room and saying something to the effect of, "It's awfully quiet in there, it's awfully quiet in there," and kept saying it over and over. They came out to see what was going on, and it's shock against shock. That kind of ticked them off, and a lot of players involved. Steph Curry was involved. Chris Paul didn't do anything. What I thought was hilarious is that Chris Paul doesn't even have to say anything to incite a situation with the Warriors. That's how much he gets under their skin. He was there, and that kind of flared things up.
Sam Amick, the USA Today NBA writer, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Tell me if this is true or not, that Doc Rivers is going to help pick either ownership or CEO here to run the Clippers?
That would make sense. I don't know that. He talked about that the other day. He said that he thought he'd be in the process. It not surprising at all. I mean, he runs their front office from a basketball standpoint, and that was one of the more underreported aspects of his big move from Boston. It was much more than just coming to coach the team. Since then I've seen that he is the lone voice of that organization. I've tried to do interviews with other members of the management team, and Doc prefers that he's the voice. So that wouldn't surprise me at all, especially with, I think, the leadership that he's shown and how high his approval rating is right now, that the NBA would give him that respect.
Steve Kerr reportedly, at least I was told, he would make a decision this week. I don't know if it's reportedly, but is Steve Kerr taking the Knicks job?
I don't know, to be honest, Dan. I think he has some concerns, and it's some of the stuff that would be common sense to anybody that knows the context here. Bill Jackson has never done this job, and as much as Steve respects him, I think he's chewing on that.
Wow.
I think this Warriors situation was a fluid one, where if Mark Jackson wound up getting fired, and that's a little awkward just because Steve and Mark go back a long, long ways. It's obviously nothing personal, but Steve has a daughter who goes to Cal in the Bay Area. He's more of a West Coast guy. So I don't know the final outcome there. I just know that it has not been as much of a slam dunk as most people thought.
What about the Lakers for Steve Kerr?
Yeah, that would make sense. I don't know if they've had discussions at this point, but that to me, the thing is, when you're a first-time head coach, I don't care how high of a profile you have, you want to, go in and be able to, buy low and sell high. And you can do that more with the Lakers than you can the Knicks. And even the Warriors, you're going to have expectations right away. If you go in with the Lakers, the fans are going to be behind you, and you try to turn that thing around.
Before I let you go, chances that the Nets beat the Heat this round?
I've got the Heat in 6, mainly kind of paying homage to the way they looked in the first round, and I keep just thinking they're going to find fifth gear, as they try to get this third title. But it's going to be fun. Paul Pierce and KG still turning back Father Time, and there's just nothing they love more than making LeBron unhappy and sending him home early. So they'll try their best. I just don't think they can pull it off.
Sam, thank you for joining us, and safe travels to Oklahoma City.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, Sam Amick, USA Today NBA writer.